we're now going to look at this idea of figuring out not the total interest paid, but rather interest paid to date. So to a certain point. So let's just pick a point here. Let's just say after 3 repayments. Okay, so we're going to say after 3 repayments, how much interest have I paid? After, and again, you don't have to write this down. After 3 repayments, how much interest have I paid? Again, you don't have to write this down. We're just learning here. So after 3 repayments, how much interest have I paid? Well, to do this, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out the total amount paid to date. So that means I'm going to add up all of my payments up to the 3rd one. So I'm going to go, let me clear this off. I'm going to go 6683.75 and times that by 3 because there's 3 repayments there. Let me write that down. I need a pen. Come on, computer. I'm going to go 6683.75 and times it by 3. That is the total amount I have paid to date. And let me highlight it in a beautiful blue. I think my highlight is a bit too small. That's all right. The next thing that we need to do is we need to figure out the principal reduction to date. So what is my principal reduction to date? Well, to figure that out, I have to say, well, how much was my original principal? And then how much has it been reduced by? So I started at 45,000 and at the end of the 3rd payment is down to about 29,000. So what is my principal reduction over that time? So I'm going to have to subtract brackets 45,000 minus 29754.88. So let's now write this out again. Remember, we figured this bit out. This was 20051.25. And then over here, I'm going to go 45,000 minus 29754.88. And that's going to be 15245.12. All right, so now this is where you have to think for a moment. All right, are you thinking? Because we're about to do some thinking here. All right, let me just color code this first. Let me make this green because we're about to do some thinking. This is the thinking. After 3 repayments, you have given the bank about 20 grand. You've given the bank about 20 grand. But also, over the course of that 3 payments, you've only reduced your balance by 15 grand. Let me say that again. This is ever so important. After 3 payments, you've given the bank 20 grand, but you've only reduced your principal by 15 grand. So how does that make any sense? You've given them more, but it hasn't reduced by that amount. And that's because interest. You're also paying the interest. So this is just saying how much the principal has reduced by. It's not taking into account how much you've paid in interest. But now if you subtract these 2 numbers, if I take this number and I subtract it from this number, that's going to say over these 3 repayments, 4806.13, the total interest you have paid to the date is this much money. Cool. Hopefully that makes sense. And that kind of covers both of those. So the total interest paid and the total the interest paid to date.